Hi everyone, and welcome to Apple Valley Artist, Growing Artist ages 5 to 7. My name is Miss Lynn, and I'm one of the children's librarians here at the Southington Public Library. On today's Apple Valley Artist, we are going to be talking about the very beginnings of art, cave paintings, specifically the Lascaux Caves in France. And if you've registered for our program, you receive a kit with all the materials necessary. We're going to talk about the Lascaux Caves and then make some cave paintings of our very own. And everything you need is in this kit right here. If you haven't registered for our program, I will tell you all the kits are things you probably already have around your home or are very easily gotten. So stick around and just watch us and draw along with us, and soon you'll be making your very own cave paintings. Okay, so let's get started. I've always been fascinated by cave paintings and specifically the Lascaux cave paintings. What happened is, now imagine this. Imagine that you and your friends are outside and you're just playing outside one afternoon, and one of you has a dog, and that dog happens to fall into a hole. It's rooting around a tree that's been uprooted, so it's kind of hanging out of the ground a little bit, and it kind of leaves a hole, and poof, your dog falls into the hole. And you decide to go after him and notice that there is a big series of caves and tunnels and caverns underneath where you were just playing. And this actually happened in Lascaux, France in 1940 to a group of boys who were playing outside. And one of them had a dog named Robot, and Robot happened to be chasing something and started digging around a tree. And when they went to get Robot, they too discovered this big labyrinth, this big maze of caves and caverns. And where they lived in France, there was a local legend of a count or a baron who had, according to stories, buried lots of treasure in those caves, and they decided to go looking for treasure. And they didn't find the gold that they were looking for, but instead they went back into the caves the next day after school, and they discovered these caves and filled with these paintings of animals like cows and bulls and horses and birds and stick figure men. And they didn't really know how long they had been there. They didn't really know what they had actually found, but they knew it was really cool and very important. And they decided they weren't going to tell anybody about it, that they were just going to charge admission. But as with any good secret, word got out and people started to come and see what they were talking about. And eventually even art experts from around the world came, and they confirmed exactly what they thought, that these were prehistoric paintings made over 17,000 years ago. And there were over 600 paintings in all. There were even some etchings. It looked like there were carvings of different animals out. There were 600 paintings and 1,500 of those sketchings. And they knew they were really onto something. So of course, if you think about it, if you were to make these paintings 17,000 years ago, they didn't have a Michael's art store or a Joanna etc. store, so they had to use what they had. They used charcoal from maybe burned wood or even burned bone. Fires, when they went out, they had that white ash to it. They used that. There was clay, natural clays, and minerals, and so the colors in these cave paintings were really earth tones. Like I said, they couldn't just go to Michael's. There weren't blues and a lot of greens. They even took some plants and mixed, ground them up and mixed them with water. And how would these people get the art on the wall? Well, they were stenciled. They put something up and then drew around it. A lot of them put their hands up, as you'll see. They put their hands up and they drew around it, and that might have been a way of saying we were here or this was the artist. They even made brushes made out of skin or fur, and they even took pipes and blew out the paint so it splattered on the wall. And they even they looked like crayons. They were manganese. They were kind of made, it was a mineral, and they drew on the walls with these crayons. And of course, it was very, very dark down there in those caves, but they made light. They burned fat in little stone lamps, and the caves were very, very tall, much taller than Miss Lynn, and they built platforms so they could get up and get up to the top of the ceilings of the cavern. And we call these the very, very beginnings of art. They're the first examples of art that we have, but no one really knows for sure, for absolute certain, why these were made. Were they, there's a lot of hunting scenes. Were they to celebrate hunts? Were they to ask for good hunts? Were they prayers or to prayers to gods or ancestors? We really don't know. The only thing we do know is that these caves were very special, very sacred places to these people, and they made absolutely beautiful works of art. So of course, going back to our friends, they tried to keep it a secret, as we know, but word leaked out, and then these paintings were really kept perfect. There was a layer of chalk over the paintings, and that kept them perfectly preserved. But what happened is, when the art experts came in and they knew what they found, they really hailed these boys heroes and asked them to protect the caves from anyone who would hurt any of the paintings. So the boys did exactly what they asked. They put barriers up in front of the entrance to the cave, and they slept out in tents every night in front of the cave for months and months. Eventually, following World War II, what had happened is, time went on, word got out all over the world. People from all over the world came to visit the Lascaux Caves. And unfortunately, all of those people coming in to see the caves, they tracked little microorganisms, little, different little kind of germs and things on their feet. Can't really help it, and the breath from their air made it very warm and kind of wet inside the caves. And what that did was the caves were starting to get destroyed. So imagine that these paintings were great and perfect for 17,000 years, and within maybe about 20 years or so, they were already starting to deteriorate. So they shut down the caves, and nearby they built an exact replica of the caverns, exactly the layout of the caverns, and the exact paintings inside of it, and that was called Lascaux II. And when that opened, I believe in the 80s when that opened, people still to this day, they visit that, and that's the only place you can visit. No one can really, except for very, very special people, can go visit the originals, but the replica is as close as we're gonna get. And I don't know about you, but I would really love to go visit those. And maybe someday we'll get back to doing that. If you would like to take a virtual tour of the Lascaux Caves, you can do that. I've left a link here in our description. I've also left a read aloud to a picture book. It's a nonfiction book about the story of the boys and their find, and them actually telling their teacher who brought in the art experts. And it's a very lovely story, and there's nonfiction information about the boys and their dog, whose name was Robot, who actually fell into that hole. So hopefully you're going to want to learn more about it. I've read a lot of books about it and seen all the pictures about it. I'm just really fascinated about it. I hope you are too. And I think what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to make our cave paintings. So if you signed up for our program, you got this little bag, as I said, with everything you need inside. And if you didn't sign up for it, that's fine. If you have a brown paper lunch bag, like you would bring to school, that's going to work perfectly. We have these brown bags, so I'm going to use that. And then inside of the bag, there is another little bag, and inside of that is a piece of charcoal. So it's drawing charcoal like you would get at the art store, but this really symbolizes their burned wood or bone from a fire. I have some white chalk, and that symbolizes the ash that they would use from a fire that was put out. Here's a piece of terracotta. Terracotta is like, if you think of a planting pot, it's that gray, it's that brownish color of a pot. This is just Crayola air dried clay that I just made into a little square, a little cube, and let it dry. We're gonna use this like they use the natural clays that they would find in the ground where they lived. This is kind of a weird one. This is a little container of ground paprika. This is a spice you probably already have in your cupboard. So here's a little container of that, and a paintbrush. So those are all of the items that you need going into our presentation, or into our art project. And when we're all done, you're going to have something that kind of looks like this. And I'll show you how we got from here to here. It's a lot of fun. And you know, if you have more than one bag at home, you can just make as many as you'd like. But first thing, so in addition to our craft kit, you are going to need a little bit of water. Here's some water inside of our cup, and some scissors. So here we go. I love art. I love making art. I love looking at art. I love learning about it. I love everything about art. So here's our bag. The first thing you're going to want to do is we're going to want to make this bag, turn this bag into a nice flat piece of paper that we can draw on. Okay, and the best way to do this is to ask your grown-up to get some scissors, and see these handles on the top? We're going to cut those handles right off. Put them aside. These are thick handles too, okay? The next thing we're going to do, so here's our bag. If we fold it up again, you're going to see the bottom of the bag. So go ahead and ask a grown-up to just cut off the bottom of the bag. Okay, and there's a nice fold there. Whoops. Lynn. I have my glasses on too. I think I need to do that a little bit better. Okay, put that aside. Now you have this kind of like a big rectangle. What we need to do is we need to make this flat. So you're just going to pick any one of these lengthwise folds, and you're going to cut it. You can tear it with your hands, or you can ask a grown-up to cut it for you. Okay, so this is now your rock wall. The inside of the bag still has these parts of the bag handles. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use the outside of the bag for your craft. And if you want to make it look more like a rock wall, you can just tear off the edges, go all around the edges. It just kind of makes it look rocky, kind of craggy. Okay, so you're going to go all the way around. Okay, so I'll trust that you're going to go all of the way around, but we're going to keep going. Then, to make it really look like a rock wall, this is the fun part. Switch it into a nice big rumpled up wall. Okay, get it nice and squished. And then let's move some of this so you can see. We're going to flatten this out so we can draw on it. Give it a nice smooth out. Remember, the inside still has the parts of the bag, so you want to do it so the inside of the bag faces down and the outside of the bag faces up. Now you can draw anything that you want. You can draw the animals that you love, like prehistoric people did, or you can draw anything that you want to draw, anything that's important to you, anything that you would maybe like someone to know about you someday when we're all grown up and we're moving on. So you're going to use your charcoal, well, just like the burned wood and the bone. Draw anything that you would like with it, okay? And when you do that, you're going to see, now be careful with it, it's very delicate, but that's going to give you that black color, okay? That's going to make a nice black color, and it's going to look like charcoal, kind of like when you cook out. When you have a cookout, those big briquettes. Which makes me kind of want some marshmallows, but maybe a s'more or something. I don't know, but anyway, I digress. Okay, so you can draw however you want, so it's going to give you a nice smudgy black color. This always leaves your hands kind of messy, so you might want to wash your hands or have some wipes available. And then, so this chalk, like I said, this kind of represents the ash from their fire, the white that they have left over. So you can go ahead and draw anything you want with that. Oops, ooh, I just broke it. I want to break yours in half first before it breaks on you. So there's that's what the white is going to look like. Okay, here's your terracotta piece of clay, and all that does is, like I said, this really symbolizes the clays that they would bring out of the ground, maybe mixed with water, and paint, apply it with their brushes made of fur. But you can actually draw with this. I know, I didn't think you could either, but you can actually draw with it. And it gives you that nice earthy brown, like the other the paintings from Lascaux. And then our last one, this one is really fun. Okay, so in your kit there's a little container of ground paprika. Paprika is a spice used in cooking, just like oregano or parsley or other spices. And it's red, and it's going to give us that nice red color that the cave paintings had too. So this is the important part. So right now it's a powder. You're going to add just a little bit of drops of water at a time, just until you can use it. You can use your paintbrush to mix it. Okay, you want to get it kind of like a, you know what your watercolor paints look like. You want it watery. Okay, and then you're going to mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. Love that. So you just want it like a liquid paint, just like a watercolor paint. And then with your paintbrush, you can paint, and that's going to give you those nice reds. They didn't use paprika in our cave paintings that we study, but look, I'll make a nice red heart. How about that? The world could use a big red heart. One thing you may not remember, if you look at the ones we did, they did take their hands and put stencils around their hands. So that's what I did with my hands. And if you look up more Lascaux cave paintings or cave paintings, you'll see a bunch of hands all stenciled around. I just made a sun, and it's a horse, could be a cat, I don't know, not the best drawer, a lot of hearts. And so I think what I'm going to do with mine is I think I'm going to make a whole bunch of cave paintings, and I'm going to let them dry, because that paprika is going to take a little bit of time to dry. I'm going to make a whole bunch of these, and you can too if you have more of these brown bags, or probably even just some regular paper will do too. And I think it'd be really fun to make a bunch, let it dry, and then have a grown-up hang them around your home, and then you can pretend to be an explorer and turn off the lights and take some flashlights and explore and see what kind of cave paintings that you can see. Don't show anyone your cave paintings. Don't look at anyone else's, and see what you discover when you're out walking around looking at those cave paintings. So I hope you enjoy our craft for Apple Valley Artists this month. And I hope you look up more information about the Lascaux Caves. They're fascinating, and I hope you just keep crafting and keep making art. It's so important. It fills us all with joy and takes us to places where right now we just can't go. So have a great day, everyone, and I look forward to seeing all your art. Have a great day. Bye.